So Elon Musk says US is on its way to bankruptcy. We agree, Elon. I think we already are bankrupt. I don't think we're on our way to bankruptcy. I think we are. So, and he was like, okay, here's the deal. What has a finite amount on our planet, right? Not fiat currencies. We can print all we want. So that's not finite. There's no end to it. It was finite when we were on the gold standard. But when the gold standard went away in the 70s, what happened? Start printing, start the machines. And then, surely enough, though, we got our money's worth. Our GDP exploded, right? Okay. But now, fiat currency is trash. It's like literal trash. It's like toilet paper. So, but what has a finite amount that I know of has not been disproven yet? What is that? Bitcoin. There's 21 million of these things out there. So when there's a finite amount of something, it's obviously we can't make more of it. Now, if tomorrow somebody came and said, oh, by the way, I can make another 20 million Bitcoin will go to zero. But so far in 12 years of its existence, that hasn't been done. It hasn't been hacked. Okay. The ledger is still alive. If all the nodes die because there is a global power outage, when they come back up, everything will still be there. So I'm going like, this is pretty cool. So Elon has been tweeting quite a bit about the deficit, by the way. I think he's really concerned about it. And so somebody was saying in the chat that if Trump wins, he's going to make Elon the deficit czar. And he's going to come into Washington, D.C. with a toilet sink, like he did to Twitter and fired 80% of his engineers. I think Twitter is still working, and I think it's working as good as ever. I mean, it's just a social media platform that did not need 6,000 extra people to function, which I believe the government doesn't need. Like the federal government is the largest employer in this country. Why do we need so many millions of people working for the government? Okay, I don't know. But he is going like Tesla, he's like 35 trillion. Elon, it's like since that article, we're about to hit 36. So give me a call. I think, we can work on this together. U.S. bankruptcy warning predicted to trigger a Bitcoin price boom. Think about it, people. So when the deficit keeps going up, your dollars in your pocket is losing value on a daily basis. Okay. Well, there's only one. Gold, obviously, that's why gold keeps hitting new highs, 26, 2,700 now, right? So that's an inflation hedge. What else is an inflation hedge? Real estate, right? I mean, you buy real estate, you rent it out, you control the rent, you can get a decent return out of it. Not today, obviously, because real estate prices are completely out of control. And so what else is there? Bitcoin. Okay. So am I saying just go put all your livelihood in Bitcoin? No. I mean, I have some Bitcoin, maybe like 5%, 6% of my net worth is in Bitcoin. I'm happy with that. I wouldn't definitely increase that allocation. So I'm going like, this is a pretty decent inflation hedge. And now that the Fed is cutting the rates and global central banks are cutting the rates, it may actually accelerate. That's why Bitcoin did so well. When the inflation, tornado hit the globe, or specifically the US, that's when Bitcoin went from, 25, 30,000 to 75,000. I think it's an inflation hedge because there's a finite amount of these things, 21 million, and 19 million has been already mined. And we know there are some missing Bitcoins. People have lost their cold wallets or, their codes for it. So I'm going like, I think this is a pretty good inflation hedge. Okay. Is it wild? Is it volatile? Of course it is. Should it replace the fiat currency? Of course not, because it's not big enough yet. But he's going, America is headed for bankruptcy. With all due respect, Elon, I think we are already there. We've been there. We're just kind of digging it deeper now. The social media platform he bought and rebranded from Twitter, linking to a report of U.S. debt surging on October 1. And that was the last topic. In 3 days, it went up by $350 billion. 3 days. Federal debt explodes on the first day of new fiscal year, jumping $204 billion to a new record of $35.7 trillion. But it gets worse. Treasury also had to draw down its cash balance by $72 billion. That's over $275 billion in the Fed red in just 1 day. What is happening here? So if Elon or Trump, let's say, gets elected and keeps his word, because Elon is all in the Trump camp. I mean, if Kamala wins, I think they're just going to arrest him and shut down Twitter probably. So I'm going like, okay, if Trump wins and puts Elon in there, what is he going to do? How is he going to cut all this? How is he going to cut the spending? I have an idea. It's called ZBB. That's called zero-based budgeting. Look it up, people. Look it up. ZBB, zero-based budgeting. You know what zero-based budgeting is? A lot of companies actually around the globe use it. I run my household with ZBB. So ZBB is you look at your revenue, whatever's coming in, okay? And you allocate whatever's coming in, whatever's going out, you allocate with what's coming in. Balanced, always balanced. If what's coming in is going higher, budget goes higher. If what's coming in is going lower, budget goes lower, budget gets cut. That's the only way to do it. So now he has to come in and throw the kitchen sink or the toilet sink into the government, cut spending. We got to cut spending. Where do we cut? Do we cut on Social Security? Do we cut on Medicare? Do we cut defense? Do we cut? First place I would cut would be, we don't need 10 million people running the government. So some heads have to roll. I mean, reality is reality. The last thing we should cut is probably Social Security, is because 70 million baby boomers are retiring in the next 10 years. That's my opinion. Defense, definitely. All the foreign aid, definitely. Just fix our own shit at home first before we do anything else. What else can we cut? You know how much fraud there is in our Medicare system and Medi-Cal, which is the state-issued healthcare systems? You know how much fraud is in there? Let's go in there and cut a little bit of that, right? And let's catch some people who are defrauding the government on a daily basis, okay? And that includes doctors, by the way. So there is a lot to cut. But if Elon gets the job, great. I'm all for it. But please go read about ZBB, zero-based budgeting, and run your household that way. So that means don't take the plastic out and buy shit you don't need constantly.